You're watching ABC4 News.
Welcome back, everybody. Utah is seeing a growing number of indigenous communities that speak indigenous languages, of course, and posing concerns, especially in healthcare. Where to go to find qualified interpreters for rare languages. That's an important thing. One organization here is working to provide experts in indigenous languages to bridge the gap in translation. And joining us now is Jace Norton, the CEO of Maya Bridge. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're glad you're here. What can you tell us about what's driving the surge in this migration to Utah?
Well, I mean, first of all, I would say that it's not just here in Utah. It's all over the United States. There are people from indigenous communities from all over the world, and I think there's a lot, especially from Latin America, that are migrating here. They're looking for better opportunities. They're looking for, especially education is a very big issue in South America, Central America, and work, right? Indigenous communities often face a lot of discrimination within their own countries. And so conditions are not great. And there's been a lot of historical events. For example, with Guatemala, there was a genocide throughout the 80s that pushed a lot of indigenous communities to come here to the United States. And since then, they've kind of started to form communities, and that has then pushed more and more people and incentivized more people to want to come to the United States to find better opportunities for themselves.
So paint the picture for us. When they get here, what's it like for them once they arrive? They can't speak the language or don't speak it well, and yet they need to go to school, they need medical care, other services. What's it like for them?
Yeah, so just like you said, many people from these indigenous communities do not speak Spanish. Some do, but some, they have limited proficiency, meaning that they are able to communicate in certain areas, but if they needed to go to the hospital for some kind of a treatment, they wouldn't have the register or the vocabulary to be able to communicate those things effectively. So it's very isolating, and having myself been in several different countries where I don't feel comfortable with the language, it's very isolating, and it can be very difficult to access different things that you need, right? Especially like education, school, healthcare, and then many of them are also in immigration proceedings and asylum proceedings, and they need to be able to understand what's going on. So most of the people that we work with are very relieved when they're able to finally connect with our interpreters, because they're able to actually understand what is going on.
Well, tell us more about that, how Maya Bridge helps these folks, and how you find interpreters to help them. That's got to be a challenge.
Yeah, so more or less the story is that I myself speak a Mayan language, and I learned it as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I realized that there was a huge need for interpretation in indigenous languages. And so what we do is we connect different clients and providers that are encountering these individuals and families. We connect them with interpreters that we go out and we find. And so that's kind of what we do best, is we go and we find the resources. I think there's a lot of different sort of misconceptions. First of all, that there are no resources, or that that no one knows where to find these resources. And so what we've done is we've gone out and flown to different communities where we know there's higher populations of indigenous speakers, indigenous language speakers. And we find the ones that are qualified, the ones that meet the requirements. They often, they don't have LinkedIn or traditional recruiting methods don't really work as well, so it's a lot more of a hands-on approach.
Sure.
to find interpreters.
So if someone wants to learn more about this or help you in some way, what's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, well, definitely. We're right now trying to address more of specifically here in Utah. We've been in business for 3 years, but we haven't really gotten into addressing the need for indigenous language interpretation here in Utah. So we are now being more active in Utah, advocating to help people know that they can find us. So I think the best way to help is to spread the word and to let everyone know, if you are finding individuals that speak a language that you're having a hard time finding, chances are that we can definitely help. Okay. So visiting our website, mayabridge.org, is a great way to spread the word and let people know what it is that we do, and that they actually can find resources for these languages.
Very good. Jace Norton with Maya Bridge, thanks so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.